Now we move on to the next topic of our module, that is the Arctic region. The Arctic is the north polar region of the Earth, and the area consists of Arctic Ocean, adjacent seas, and also parts of Alaska, USA, Canada, Finland, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, and Sweden. Usually, the area is defined as north of the Arctic Circle, that is 66 degree 33 degree north latitude. Unlike Antarctic region, the Arctic region had indigenous human population for over 2000 years. The current estimate shows that 4 million people, including 40 ethnic groups, resides in this region. The major ethnic groups are Samis, Nenets, Khanty, Evenk, Chukchi, Yupik, etc. Arctic ecology is unique with a characteristic adaptation to short growing seasons with long periods of winter and sunlight. The major species of animals in the region which are threatened animals in the region are polar bear, walrus, narwhal, reindeer, Arctic char, etc. The region also has an ecological significance as an important range for extensive animal migrations. The region also has an ecological significance as an important range for the extensive animal migrations. The area is mostly covered in snow and ice and is predominantly treeless. It's a permafrost tundra region and the seas have seasonal sea ice. Climate change is also a major concern for the region due to the presence of the ice. Now we move on to the legal protection of Arctic region. The Arctic region is dominated by the national legal systems of the states bordering the Arctic oceans. The Arctic region is dominated by the national legal system of the states bordering the Arctic Ocean, like the USA, Canada, Finland, Greenland, Iceland, Norway, Russia, and Sweden. However, there is no comprehensive international regime applicable to this region. Certain bilateral and multilateral treaties such as the North Pacific Fur Seal Convention 1911, Agreement on Conservation on Polar Bears 1973 and few fisheries related agreement etc. are applicable for the area. And global treaties like the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea 1982 and multilateral environment agreements like Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants 2001, Convention on Biological Diversity 1992, Convention on the Conservation of Migratory Species of Wild Animals 1973 and certain migratory species agreement like the Agreement on the Conservation of African Eurasian Waterbird Agreement etc. are also applicable in the region. One of the prominent international efforts for the protection of the region is Arctic Environmental Protection Strategy or the AEPS 1991. The strategy commits the Arctic states to a better and effective environmental cooperation regime in order to deal with immediate environmental problems faced by the region. However, it is not legally binding. The 5 objectives of the AEPS are: first, protection of the Arctic ecosystem including humans. Secondly, protection, enhancement and restoration of environmental quality and the sustainable utilization of natural resources. Thirdly, to recognize and accommodate the traditional and cultural needs, values and practices of the indigenous population. To review regularly the state of the Arctic environment and to identify, reduce and eliminate pollution. Now we will discuss the role of Arctic Council. The Arctic Council is the most important institution governing the region. It was established on September 19, 1996 with the signing of the Ottawa Declarations. It consisted of the 8 Arctic countries and a set of non-Arctic observers, namely China, France, Germany, India, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Netherlands, Poland, Singapore, Spain and the United Kingdom. The Council provided a platform for the negotiation and conclusion of 2 legally binding agreements among the Arctic states for the protection and conservation of the region. The first one is the Agreement on Cooperation on Aeronautical and Maritime Search and Rescue in the Arctic 2011. Second, Agreement on Cooperation on Marine Oil Pollution, Preparedness and Response in the Arctic 2013. Now we will briefly discuss these 2 agreements. The first agreement, that is Agreement on Cooperation on Aeronautical and Maritime Search and Rescue in the Arctic 2011, is the first legally binding agreement concluded by the Arctic Council. The focus was to strengthen aeronautical and maritime search and rescue cooperation and coordination between the Arctic states. The agreement details on the rescue coordination centers and the cooperative measures to be adopted by the parties to the Council. It also provides for exchange information in such operations and asks for regular meeting between the parties. It states that disputes should be settled between parties through negotiations. The second one is the Agreement on Cooperation on Marine Oil Pollution, Preparedness and Response in the Arctic 2013. The agreement was reached to deal with the threat from marine oil pollution to Arctic environment and livelihoods of indigenous peoples. The agreement states that in case of oil pollution incident, the parties should take prompt and effective action. The agreement also aims to strengthen the cooperation, coordination and mutual assistance among the parties on preparedness and response to protect the marine environment from pollution by oil. The agreement also has a number of working groups and plans. There are mainly 6 working groups under the Arctic Council. The first one, Arctic Monitoring and Assessment Program. Second, Conservation of Arctic Flora and Fauna. Third, Emergency Prevention, Preparedness and Response. Fourth, Protection of the Arctic Marine Environment. Fifth, Sustainable Development Working Group. And last one, Arctic Contaminants Action Program. The other programs and action plans are Arctic Biodiversity Assessment, Circumpolar Biodiversity Monitoring Programs, and third, Arctic Climate Impact Assessment, and finally, Arctic Human Development Report. With this, we come to an end of this module, and I would like to summarize the module which we have discussed now. We have seen Antarctica, we have seen the legal protection of Antarctica in the first part and the legal protection of Arctic in the second part. We have covered main agreements, especially the Antarctic Treaty System and the various conventions under that, and we have also discussed the Arctic Council and the various agreements and working groups and action plans under this Arctic Council. What we have to remember is that these two polar regions differ geophysically and geographically, so that regulatory framework will also have the same sort of differences. Especially the absence of sovereignty in the Antarctic region and the presence of Western industrial states in the Arctic region itself makes it different. I hope that this module was helpful for the students in understanding the regulatory frameworks applicable for the polar regions. I wish you all the best for your exams, and in case you need further information, please log on to the online resources for the same. Thank you.